preface, prologue, foreword, introduction. Oh my, if you're a new author, which route are you supposed to go and what in the world is the difference? You are not at all alone. I'm Dr. Nicolia and I'm a 10-time best-selling author. And trust me, when I was on my journey to writing my very first book, I too struggled with understanding what the difference was between each of these and how to best introduce my book to my ideal readers. But don't worry, you don't have to wander around. You don't have to wreck your brain thinking about it. Today, I'm going to share the 4 different types of introductions to your book and how you can determine which one you need to include in your book and why. So whether it's a preface, a prologue, a foreword, or an introduction, you'll notice that each book has one of these. And you can notice it stands out because it isn't paged the same way the rest of the book is, meaning it doesn't have page numbers. It typically has like Roman numerals and it comes before chapter 1. So what we'll start with is we'll talk about what a preface is. Preface is mostly found in nonfiction books. And this is the opportunity for the author to introduce the book to the readers, to let the reader understand what their experience is going to be as they go through the book and what they can expect with the book. A lot of times when an author is including a preface in a book, they'll use it to increase the inspiration that the readers have to continue to read forward, like drawing them in, hooking them in, but they'll also explain the inspiration or the reason why behind the purpose of writing the book. Also, some authors will use this to identify why they are the authority or the expert in this particular subject. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a section where you list your certifications, but for example, if you're writing a book about divorce, maybe you're using this time to share a little bit about your journey through divorce and what you learned. The second type of introduction you can have is the prologue, which typically happens in fiction books. And this is written from the perspective of one of the main characters in the book. And the purpose or the premise behind it is that it gives the foundation of the story. It lets them know kind of what events took place before the story actually jumps off, before the reader actually goes forward and dives in. It also explains what to kind of expect, but doesn't give away the conclusion or the follow-up of the end of the story. The key thing to note with the prologue is that if you write a prologue, it is assumed that you also need to end your book with an epilogue. Whereas if you do an introduction or a foreword or a preface, it's not assumed that you need to have some special conclusion. It can just be the last chapter of the book, or you can have a conclusion. So that's something to note if you're choosing to create a prologue. Then we move into introduction as an option. Now, understand that an introduction is different than chapter 1. Chapter 1 is where you dive into the story, whereas an introduction is really setting the stage for your reader, letting them know what to expect, filling them in on any important terms or anything like that. And so with an introduction, the important thing is that you really want to draw your reader in. And introductions are typically used for nonfiction books, but just to kind of walk you through what an introduction might look like. It will be that hook statement, hooking them in, attention grabber, bringing them in, inspiring them, telling them a story that's going to kind of lay the foundation, letting them know what they can expect as they continue to move forward and read, sharing with them what they'll continue to learn as they move forward and why they should be inspired to keep moving forward. And then again, kind of explaining who you are as the author, why you're writing this, and then you can create the bridge to the beginning of the book, right? You don't want to just go straight to the introduction and then go to chapter 1. You want to be able to create a bridge so that it's an easy transition, which makes it very readable for your audience. Next, we move to the foreword, which are the public relations and marketing experts' favorite parts of books. And forewords can literally be used for either fiction or nonfiction books, but a foreword is written by a subject matter expert, somebody who's very well known, or a critic or something like that. And basically the premise behind a foreword is introducing the author by somebody who is already well known. It's a way to like validate the author as the authority, as the expert, and it's a way to somewhat like check and give permission for other people to take that next step, to commit to being able to buy the book. I look at forewords almost like getting an endorsement. But the key thing with forewords is you want it to be someone who's well known, a critic, someone famous or a subject matter expert, but you also want it to be someone who can attest to you personally. So for example, I had a client of mine who wrote a book around anxiety, and she had her former therapist who was a super, super well known in their local area, who knew her personally, but also was a subject matter on anxiety, write the foreword. So not only is she sharing her book with her audience, she also has the opportunity to share it with her therapist audience, because her therapist is now endorsing this book as a great book that other people will want to purchase, will want to read, will want to dive more into. With forewords, the reason that marketing experts and public relation individuals love forewords is because, again, it's an endorsement. It's giving those people that are on the fence the permission to step over, to say, okay, I know that this book was endorsed, or, really recommended to me by this person. Now I know it's okay for me to take that next step. And it opens up your opportunity as an author to get in front of a new and expansive audience, which is always amazing. So as you can tell, there are a lot of different options. Some work really well for fiction books. Some work really well for nonfiction books. Some are going to work really well for your particular situation. Some may not fit your situation. It's your job to feel what's going to feel best for you. One of the things that I often tell my clients to do is to look at other books that are that are in their genre, that are similar in fashion, and see how are they introducing the book to their audience. Is it an introduction? Is it a foreword? Is it a preface? Is it a prologue? And what feels aligned and right for you and your ideal readers? Regardless of which option or which route you take for the introduction, a question that I often get asked is, how long should it be? Which I'm also going to let you know. The reality is you want it to be long enough that it's justifiable to be its own chapter, but short enough that people are ready to get through it and dive right into your book. And you also don't want the focus to be only on that beginning part. So I say typically between 1,500 and 2,500 words is usually pretty good, whether you do a preface, a foreword, a prologue, or an introduction. And for reference, the average chapter length is between 1,500 and 5,000 words. So as you notice, it's not as long as some chapters, but it's not so overwhelming that people can get stuck just in that one section. All in all, there's no right or wrong way to go. It comes down to what you feel most comfortable with, what you feel like your audience is going to lean into, and how you best feel like you can bring in, hook in, and engage your audience. Remember, the introduction is like your first impression, and we all know we only get one of those, so we want to make it worth it. If you're looking for more support, tools, and strategies on your aspiring author journey, I have just the thing for you. Using the link below, you can join my totally free Aspiring Author Bundle, where you will learn how to take your idea and turn it into a published masterpiece. Trust me when I say you do not want to miss this. So use the link below, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.